Hello, I'm Emilio, and I'm going to be playing through ARR, at least ARR. Hopefully I'll be able to make it through the entire MSQ, but I'm going to be playing through MSQ with audio description as best as I can. I'm an amateur, but if you're not familiar, audio description, also referred to as video description, described video, or more precisely called a visual description, is a form of narration used to provide information surrounding key visual elements in a media work for the benefit of blind and visually impaired consumers. So, basically, I've never done this before, and if I mess up, feel free to make any corrections, but I'm going to go ahead and start now. So this is my Warrior of Light Edith, the one we're going to be playing on. She has a little bit of a backstory. She's an Ishgardian, half Elizin, former noblewoman. She is kind of selfish, not necessarily the best person, but she is deceptively charming, and I think she's pretty fun. She has tan skin, red glasses, red lipstick, and short white hair. She's wearing a white tunic, brown pants, and thigh-high black boots, and she's carrying a rapier, a weapon that's from the red mage class, actually. In her backstory, she's not a very strong magic user, so she mostly uses it as a sword, despite the in-game class being magical caster DPS. So I'm going to go ahead and go to New Game Plus here. Well, actually, first, let me describe my HUD layout a little bit. In the bottom left-hand corner, I have my text box, so you'll see a lot of people role-playing because my homeworld is Mateus, which is one of the most populated RP servers. Also, people just like to talk and chat, in-game. But next to that, I have my mini-map, a hotbar set up. It's a little confusing because I use a gaming mouse, so it's set up in 3x4 grids, which normally it would be, I think, like 12 across. Let me think, or is it 9 across? I think it's 9 across, because you're supposed to use the buttons at the top of your keyboard, but I am a little freak. So, what else? Actually, the stuff in the top right-hand corner here isn't going to necessarily even show up once we enter New Game Plus, but it's just quests that I've been working on. So in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our Gil, which is just the Eorzean currency. And then below that we have, I just had to pull everything out of my retainer too because I was running low. I forgot I had anything in there. And then below that we have our character button, duty button, logs, travel, party, social, and system. It is honestly a lot to get used to. Oh, and we also have our red mage gauge here, which has black and white mana. So, let's see. We go to duty, New Game Plus. We're going to start a realm reborn. A realm reborn is Eorzea, a realm embraced by gods and forged by heroes. It is here that one adventurer's journey begins. Through power, fame, and fortune all beckon, this intrepid soul is destined for greater things still. Guided by the Mother Crystal, they will walk the path of a hero, of a warrior of light. I don't really necessarily consider Edith to be a hero in her canon, but I do have like her Warrior of Light AU, which I think is fun. So that's what we're going to be playing through. It says, you are about to commence a new chapter. Proceed? Yes. Everything's faded to black. And now we're back. In the top right-hand corner, all of our quests have disappeared, and now it's just a realm reborn. So our first quest is We Must Rebuild. I'm going to be running up the stairs because I should have mentioned, I'm in Uldar right now. I have this as my starting city-state. I'm not sure why in New Game Plus it doesn't show the very opening cutscene where you're arriving in Eorzea. You arrive on a cart with a older man. I can't remember his name. It's like Brahmin, or Brahman, something like that. Um, and these two twins who are younger Ellison with white hair. I'm trying to remember exactly how it goes. I think the Brass Blades, which are the local, like, law enforcement essentially, stop you, and they're trying to swindle you basically. Um, you fight. I can't remember if you fight them off or what happens, but I know you make it here to the main city state and part ways with both the twins and this man. We'll see them later. I'm just not sure why they don't show that. That's what I can, to the best of my recollection, that is the scene. So now I'm running through this fairly crowded, what is it called? It's a tavern. Fairly crowded tavern to meet with Momodi, the quicksand proprietress. She is a Dunes folk Lalafell, so she is basically a baby-faced dwarf with, I would say, red hair and red eyes. Momodi of the Quicksand wants to introduce you to a certain someone at the Oldad dispatch yard. Well, youngling, how are you finding our fine Oldad then? Got your bearings about you yet? If so, mayhap it's time you ventured beyond the city walls. The bustling streets of Ul'dah are one thing, but the wilds of Thanalan, that's another altogether. I know a bloke you might fancy speaking to, and he you. Name of Papashan. You'll find him over at the Ul'dah dispatch yard. No doubt he'll have some work for you. The dispatch yard's over in central Thanalan. Just head out the door across the hall, and you'll see the Gate of Nod staring right back at you. Pass through it and head east. You'll come upon it 'fore long. Oops, clicked too fast. There's dangers beyond the wall, though. More than I'd care to count. Nothing too terrible, mind you, but feisty enough to attack if you draw near. Don't say nobody cared enough to warn you. So I was able to read that by clicking on the event log. I clicked too fast, and that was my bad. There's a guy over here highlighted in orange, and that is because he's a friend. So I am going to dote him, which is a Mog Station emote, and you can blow a kiss to people, and it sends a sparkly little heart. To save some time, instead of fully exploring the desert, I'm just going to get into my car and then take us to the dispatch yard. Thanalan is a desert, so there's a lot to it, of course. It's an expansive area, but I'm not quite sure how to entirely describe the map. There's Western Thanalan, Eastern Thanalan, Northern Thanalan, and Southern Thanalan. Right now, I believe we're in Central. Right outside the steps of Nald. We've just arrived in the dispatch yard, which is a railroad with just one platform, so it's not huge. I forgot, Ida her mount is a car. I got it from the Final Fantasy 15 crossover. I think it's 15, right? Crossover event, so she drives a car. And it can actually hold 4 people. So we're going to speak to Papashan now. He is an Ellison with a mustache, white hair, and white eyes. So it says, well, you certainly look the part of an adventurer, my friend. Might you be the good soul Momodi advised me to expect, I am Papashan, station master of this humble dispatch yard. An empty title, I assure you. I truly am more know than a tired old Lalafell passing his final years in quiet and solitude. 12 know there have been plenty of both these past 5 years since the calamity struck. The devastation was vast. Yet, now Truelden's work together, doing all in our power to rebuild what was laid to ruin. By the sweat of our brows and the love of our home, we have rebuilt Ul'dah to the grandeur and majesty that you see today. The railways which run through this dispatch yard, too, were born of the noble efforts of great many souls. But there is still much work to be done. The wounds left by the calamity run deep. Isolated areas beyond our lines of supply remain, and there are places yet wanting for relief and restoration. Ul'dah needs the aid of you and your brethren, friend. In fact, never has our need been more dire. Which brings me to the point, I suppose. I do believe I may have some work suited to one of your ability. We must rebuild complete. And the next quest is... Nothing to see here. Station Master Papashan has a simple task for a fledgling adventurer. Since you've come all this way, perhaps you can perform an errand for me. It just so happens a number of sentries have been sent to guard the area. A dispatch to the dispatch yard, as it were. They have long been away from the shade and featherbeds of the city. The hot days and cold nights can play hells on the mind and body out here. It isn't much, but go and give them these twilight pretzels, would you? I find comfort food always helps me when I feel like killing myself. I fucking love that line. And we're gonna fly to the Sultan Sworn. The serious Sultan Sworn, he's a red roe in a blue and white outfit. It's a tunic with armor, gloves, or not gloves, gauntlets, armored boots. He is dressed like a paladin, essentially. Halt, madam. I'm going to have to ask you to put the pretzel on the ground and place your hands above your head. Let's just give him the goddamn pretzel and get out of here. It says, a traditional Dunes folk bread twisted into the shape of a knot and sprinkled generously with coarse ground salt before being baked into a perfect brown, resembling twilight over Thanalan. State your name and business. A twilight pretzel from Papashan? By the gods, forgive me. You could say this new post has my nerves in a twist. I'm terribly sorry for that. Yes, well, you may rest assured that the dispatch yard is safe so long as I stand watch. Please give Papashan my thanks, and tell him that I only wish I could repay the favor. See, I don't think being over-vigilant like that necessarily means that the dispatch yard is safe. In fact, I would argue that it makes it more dangerous. Now we're going south, and we are approaching a stern Sultan Sworn. He is not a Roganin, he is a Highlander with an angry face and dark gray hair. Western front, clear. Eastern front, clear. Alright, I give him the twilight pretzel. For me, from Papashan, a twilight pretzel? My favorite, how did he know? Can't fight on an empty stomach, now can I? Actually, I can't fight on any stomach. I suppose you could say I have no stomach for fighting. These guys are the worst cops. Go ahead and fly, approaching our last, they were all pretty far apart. We just have to, it's just a, kind of a, what is it called? Not a fetch quest. It says, 12 save me, scorching days, freezing night, this post will be the end of me. Twilight pretzel, hand over. A twilight pretzel? Don't mind if I do. Ah, now that's a refreshing goddamn pretzel. I feel reborn. Haha. A realm reborn. Now we get back in our car and we're gonna head back over to the dispatch yard. It is dusty outside. It is foggy and deserty. Alright, back to Papashan. You've returned, and with a deal fewer pretzels I see. Tell me, how fare our Sultan Sworn sentries? Did they have anything to report? Anything at all? What? Nothing? Are you sure? Oh dear. Take this for your troubles then, and stay a moment. There is more I would ask of you. And we don't actually get any rewards, so I can't tell you what he was supposed to give us. But nothing to see here is complete. Edith, I have just this moment. No, the time for concealment is past. The truth is, even before I had you deliver those pretzels, I was privy to some most unsettling news, which is the real reason I sent you to meet those Sultan Sworn. It looks like we are accepting underneath the Sultan tree. Papashan is in dire need of your assistance. A young noblewoman from a very prestigious family has run away from home, and I have been ordered to see her safe return. Well, that's concerning. Edith is from a very prestigious family and has run away from home. Does he know? No. The Sultan sworn you met earlier are assisting with the search. Alas, it seems they have found no trace of her. I apologize for not being frank with you from the start, but we must proceed with caution. Should word of her disappearance spread, I fear others with less honorable motives may join the hunt. And should we allow her to come to any harm, not even 100 beheadings would be punishment enough. This must be from a very prestigious family, certainly more prestigious than Edith's. It says that cannot happen, Edith. It must not. I need you to help me find her. Praise the 12. I knew I could count on you. I've instructed the others to expand the search, but Thanalan is fast, and there are only so many of us. The young noblewoman's name is Lady Lilira. I want you to go south and look for her in the vicinity of the Sultan tree. Good luck. I'm gonna fly, where is this? Southeast on the map. Ooh, just ran into a tree, driving past some turtles, and we are arriving at the base of an enormous tree. It's got a wide trunk, lots of exposed roots, but it's very short and stout. So we're gonna hop off our car. There's a hooded Lalafell over here. She's wearing entirely pink. She's got a pink robe, a pink turban, and she also has pink hair and eyes. Or her, actually, I can't recall what color her eyes are. Let me see. She's kneeling at the base of the tree. Oh, Sultan tree. You're about to enter an instance battle. Instance battle only occurs during certain quests and missions. Take a moment to read the displayed information in the active help window before answering the call of duty. So I don't really need to do that. I know what I'm doing here. This hooded Lalafell is glowing, so we know that we're about to enter an instance duty when we click on her. I should have mentioned that before. So let's go ahead, click. I'm going to go ahead and go on very easy because I've played this before. I'm not really concerned about taking a lot of time away from MSQ. She's kneeling before the tree, almost praying. She turns back and she looks at Edith. Oh, but behind us actually is another man.
As you command, Lilira.
He's got white hair similar to Edith's cut. It's actually where the model of her hair is from. So they have the same hair. It's short, kind of shaggy cut. He's got light skin, brown eyes. He's wearing a black tunic with white sleeves, green pants, and black thigh-high boots. He looks to be in his early 30s. It's kind of hard to tell because of the fact that Final Fantasy uses a lot of like similar models, but I know for a fact he's in his early 30s. He's approached her.
We both know I can do no such thing. It isn't safe for you here alone. It isn't safe for anyone. Not with this etheric disturbance. It's as though the dead are watching us. And I'd prefer not to join them, if it's all the same to you. You must be the one that Papa Shan mentioned. Congratulations on finding our elusive young charge.
He's turned to address Edith.
You'll have to forgive her impetuousness. What she lacks in should return with us. The station master will be eager to thank Lady Lilira's protector in person.
It zoomed in on a little, so I should also mention he's got like a strange device on his arm. It almost looks like a mask or goggles, but it's flat. And he also is carrying a dagger. Oh, I was wrong. He's actually not wearing boots. He's wearing armored sandals with his feet out. Just okay.
Dear Lilira, for my sake, please stay out of harm's way.
Oh, he also has 2 purple tattoos on his neck. He's also wearing a white choker.
As for you, dear friend, for Lilira's sake, please stay in harm's way.
Basically, he is a little slutty. That's okay. We're fighting this. It approached us. I'm not sure how to describe it. It is like a bat-like monster. It has leathery wings, and I'm not even sure how to describe it. It almost looks like an upright dog. I'm zooming out a little bit. I might have to adjust the volume because these sound effects are loud. The system configuration sound. Oh yeah, sound effects are turned way up. Now back to fighting. I should mention that his title now, it was question marks before, we didn't really know who he was, but now his title says Handsome Stranger. We're not sure what level he is. There are just question marks next to it. Because I only have 3 skills, I'm just kind of spamming riposte. Riposte? I'm not sure. I know this class is extremely French, but I don't know how to pronounce French words. So she's just slashing. Because we only have 3 skills. We have Jolt, Vare Thunder, and Riposte right now. Oh no, we also have Lucid Dreaming. Let's put Addle on him. Should have done that a lot sooner. I wasn't really paying attention to the second hotbar. I only thought I had the 3 skills. The thing dies. We just kind of look at it, and then, oh, there's a crystal on the ground. So Edith approaches the crystal. And it kind of floats up into the air into her hands. The screen fades to black, and now we're in kind of a black void. The camera's panning around, and then we see a summoning circle almost. One of the 6 points of a star illuminates and shoots up into the air.
Hear, feel, think.
We're looking around the void, but we don't see anything. Then we look up, and the sky is raining down comets or meteors. Right from the middle of the sky. Now we're floating in this space-like void.
Crystal bearer.
We're turning, trying to look for where it's coming from, but then we see a giant crystal floating towards us.
I am Heidelin, a light there once was that shone throughout this realm, yet it hath since grown dim. And as it hath faltered, so hath darkness risen up in its stead, presaging an end to life. For the sake of all, I beseech thee, deliver us from this fate.
We're just looking at all these floating crystals.
The power to banish the darkness dwelleth in the crystals of light. Journey forth.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 absurdly shaped crystals. They're just massive. Looks like there are a lot of them, and they're all surrounding this one huge crystal. It zooms out and we see that this crystal is massive, like skyscrapers. Like, huge.
By thy deeds shall the crystals reveal themselves to thee.
Panning around Edith now to see how small she is in comparison to the crystal. Then we look to our left and we see another adventurer. And then another. They're all flying towards the crystal. Then we fly towards the crystal. There are all sorts of lights surrounding the crystal, I think, implying different warriors. And then we're flying towards the light.
And shine thy light on all creation.
We wake up at the base of the tree.
Coming around now.
There's Thancred. He looks up at the tree.
Would you mind telling me what that was?
Lilira looks extremely upset.
If I only knew.
That was a joke.
Denizen of the void at any rate.
They all kind of have blank expressions. Their facial features aren't the most animated all the time.
The void sent? Here? But how?
She crosses her arms.
The question isn't how, but who. We're not dealing with bookless bandits.
Thancred's also got his arms crossed. They're very contemplative.
Don't suppose the answer came to you in a dream. No sooner did you fell the beast than you fell asleep. Too much ether, no doubt.
They're approaching Edith.
Interesting. I hadn't considered the crystal. But of course, this changes everything.
Sometimes he reminds me of the Goblin King. Just the way he speaks. I hadn't considered the crystal. Okay.
Oh, just thinking aloud? At any rate, we haven't a moment to spare. I must return and report this at once.
It's 'cause he's British.
I leave Lady Lilira in your capable hands.
How dare you pass me about like a swaddled babe?
She does legitimately look upset this time. She's doing an emote where she's like shaking her arms and she's frowning at him.
I shall return and tell them myself.
I honestly can't wait to get past this beginning part. She's walking off now. More like waddling.
As you wish, your impetuousness. I suspect we shall meet again before long. Until then, don't try and stay awake.
Har har. It's not our fault we passed out. I am tired of this quest line because I've played it twice now and I fucked it up both times. We're heading over to report to Papashan at the dispatch yard again. Let's see, okay. Lady Lilira is here, and Papashan is extremely grateful to see her. He says, "Thank the gods you've returned. You've had us all so worried. You do realize what would happen if a person of your noble stature were to be injured, or worse. Why, Her Grace the Sultana would be beside herself with grief, and so would her subjects. I dare say they'd be weeping in the streets. But I've already given you cause to weep, Papashan, you and the people of Ulda." She's surrounded by the Sultan Sworn, and some servant. Says, "Please, you're not to say such things. We will find it, I swear to you. It is not my place to make demands, my lady, but I beg you, please stay out of harm's way." Lilira shakes her head. "I apologize for causing you undue worry, Papashan. I shall refrain from traveling unescorted in the future." Her servant she curtsies, and then all of the Sultan Sworn are off with them. Papashan says, "I cannot thank you enough, Edith. I understand you fought bravely to protect Lady Lilira from void-sent fiends. For your gallant service, you must deserve all the riches in the royal vaults." Misread that. "For your gallant service, you deserve all the riches in the royal vaults. Alas, a small token of my gratitude is the best I can offer." Edith makes kind of like a motion like she's speaking, and then Papashan says, "A sarcastic man with a strange contraption strapped to his shoulder? I see you met Thancred. He's a scholar who spends his days investigating oddities in the ether. Rather too fond of the sound of his own voice for my liking, but perfectly harmless. As for you, Edith, you're just the sort of adventurer we need around here. I pray you show the same kindness to the people of Thanalan as you did to us today." And then we've completed level 5 underneath the Sultan Tree. I think I'm going to take a little break here, and then we'll be back because Ciciroa over here wants to speak.